Number 1. The 1965 Ford Fairlane 500. In my opinion, this 1965 Ford Fairlane 500 is one of those classic Fords that perfectly captures the spirit of simple, honest American motoring. It isn't a high-dollar show car or an over-the-top restomod. Instead, it looks like a well-maintained driver that has received the right mechanical upgrades while still preserving its vintage personality. For someone looking for a dependable classic to enjoy on weekends or family cruises, this Fairlane deserves a closer look. Finished in white with a striking red interior, the car has a timeless appearance that fits the mid-1960s era perfectly. The contrasting color combination gives it plenty of visual appeal without being overly flashy. Even though the seller mentions a few minor dents and scratches, the overall body is described as very solid, which is far more important than perfect paint when shopping for a classic car that's more than 60 years old. Under the hood sits Ford's legendary 289 high-output V8, an engine that has earned an excellent reputation for reliability, smooth performance, and a distinctive small-block sound. Paired with a 3-speed manual transmission mounted on the steering column, this Fairlane offers a driving experience that's becoming increasingly rare today. While many enthusiasts prefer a floor-mounted shifter, there's something nostalgic about driving a classic with a column-shift manual. It reminds you of a time when cars were simpler, more mechanical, and connected drivers directly to the road. One feature I really appreciate is the list of recent maintenance and upgrades. The seller reports new brake lines, new fuel lines, a new fuel pump, a new timing chain, and a fresh set of tires. Those are not flashy modifications, but they're exactly the kinds of improvements that make a classic car more dependable and enjoyable to own. The addition of power brakes and a front disc brake conversion is another welcome upgrade, providing better stopping power and increased confidence behind the wheel without taking away from the car's classic character. Personally, I think this Fairlane's biggest strength is its honesty. It isn't pretending to be a Concours-level restoration, nor is it hiding the fact that it has a few cosmetic imperfections. Instead, it appears to be a solid, well-cared-for classic that can be driven and appreciated immediately. Sometimes those are the most rewarding cars to own because you're not afraid to take them out on the road and actually enjoy them. At an asking price of $15,000, I believe this 1965 Ford Fairlane 500 represents good value in today's classic car market. With its dependable 289 V8, manual transmission, upgraded braking system, and solid overall condition, it offers an excellent balance of originality, usability, and affordability. If I were looking for a vintage Ford that could be enjoyed regularly without the pressure of owning a museum-quality collector's car, this Fairlane would definitely be on my shortlist. Number 2. 1963 Ford Galaxie Sedan. In my opinion, this 1963 Ford Galaxie is one of those rare survivor cars that deserves a closer look. While it may not have the massive horsepower or extensive modifications found on many classic muscle cars, its originality is what makes it truly stand out. For collectors, an honest survivor is often much harder to find than a fully restored vehicle, and this Galaxie appears to fit that description remarkably well. Located in Cologne, Minnesota, this two-door Galaxie is listed for $21,500 and currently shows just over 41,000 miles. According to the seller, the mileage is believed to be original and continues to increase because the car is still driven regularly. I actually like hearing that because classics were built to be driven, not simply stored away in a garage. Power comes from Ford's dependable 260 cubic inch V8 paired with an automatic transmission. Although the 260 isn't the largest engine available in the Galaxie lineup, it has earned a reputation for smooth operation and reliability. In my opinion, that makes this car an excellent weekend cruiser rather than an all-out performance machine. It offers enough V8 character to make every drive enjoyable while remaining simple and easy to maintain. What really caught my attention is the incredible level of originality. The seller states that the interior is 100% original, which is becoming increasingly uncommon for a car that's now more than 60 years old. Preserving factory upholstery for this long requires careful ownership, and it speaks volumes about how the car has been treated throughout its life. Another impressive detail is the exterior. The seller explains that only the driver's side front fender has been repainted, while the rest of the body still wears its original factory paint. In my opinion, original paint tells a story that no modern repaint can fully duplicate. Small imperfections and signs of age become part of the vehicle's history, giving it authenticity that many collectors actively seek. The chrome trim is also described as being in fantastic condition, another important factor for a full-size Ford from this era. Bright work can be one of the most expensive parts of a restoration, so finding an original survivor with well-preserved trim is definitely a major advantage. Adding even more value, the seller still has the original 14-inch steel wheels and factory hubcaps. Even if the current owner prefers aftermarket wheels, having those original components included helps preserve the car's heritage and gives future owners the option to return it to a completely stock appearance. Personally, I think this Galaxie represents a refreshing alternative to heavily modified classics. Instead of chasing horsepower numbers, it celebrates originality, preservation, and honest history. Cars like this become excellent conversation pieces because they're only original once, and finding survivors in this condition becomes increasingly difficult every year. Overall, this 1963 Ford Galaxie appears to be a beautifully preserved survivor featuring its original interior, mostly original paint, dependable 260 V8 engine, automatic transmission, and exceptionally well-maintained trim. In my opinion, it's an ideal classic for someone who values authenticity over extensive modifications, offering a genuine glimpse into Ford's early 1960s craftsmanship while remaining enjoyable enough to drive and appreciate on today's roads. Number 3. This 1967 Chevrolet Malibu Chevelle is a classic muscle car that has been transformed into an SS tribute, combining iconic late 60s styling with a kind of big block performance that enthusiasts have always associated with the Chevelle name. Finished in bright red with a black interior, this car captures the aggressive appearance that made the 1967 Chevelle one of the most desirable muscle cars of its generation. While it isn't advertised as an original factory super sport, the tribute build gives it the visual impact and driving experience that many buyers are looking for, often at a much more accessible price than a genuine SS. Under the hood sits a massive 454 cubic inch Chevrolet V8, providing plenty of displacement and the unmistakable sound that only a big block can deliver. According to the seller, the engine is paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual transmission, one of the most sought-after gearboxes ever installed in classic Chevrolets. That combination creates a much more engaging driving experience, allowing the driver to fully enjoy the engine's abundant torque and classic muscle car character. Power is transferred through a durable 12-bolt rear axle, a component that has long been favored by performance enthusiasts because of its strength and reliability. Supporting the drivetrain is an upgraded UMI suspension system, which is a significant improvement over the factory suspension. These upgrades are designed to improve handling, stability, and overall road manners, helping the car feel more composed during spirited driving while still remaining comfortable enough for weekend cruising. Inside, the cabin retains the traditional black interior that complements the exterior color nicely. An aftermarket audio system with a subwoofer has been added, giving the car modern entertainment capabilities without dramatically changing its classic appearance. It's a subtle upgrade that makes the car more enjoyable for longer drives while preserving the vintage atmosphere. The odometer currently shows approximately 46,000 miles, and the seller describes the vehicle as being very clean and running exceptionally well. While there isn't a detailed list of restoration work provided, the overall description suggests that the car has been well maintained and is ready to be enjoyed immediately rather than requiring extensive repairs or additional investment. In my opinion, this Chevelle strikes a very appealing balance. It delivers the look and excitement of a big block super sport without carrying the premium price that an original numbers-matching SS would demand. The combination of a 454 V8, Muncie 4-speed, 12-bolt rear end, and upgraded suspension gives it the ingredients of a true driver's car rather than simply a showpiece. At an asking price of $48,000, this 1967 Chevrolet Malibu Chevelle SS Tribute sits in a competitive part of the market. Considering the cost of sourcing a solid Chevelle, installing a properly built 454, upgrading the suspension, and adding a Muncie transmission, recreating a similar car today could easily exceed the asking price. For buyers who want the classic Chevelle experience with modernized performance and excellent road manners, this tribute build appears to offer an impressive combination of power, style, and value. Number 4. 1964 Pontiac Lemans. The 1964 Pontiac Lemans is an important car in Pontiac history because it arrived just before the legendary GTO changed the muscle car world forever. In fact, the GTO originally began as an option package for the Lemans, which means these early Lemans models share much of the same attractive styling that enthusiasts have admired for decades. With its clean body lines, compact proportions, and unmistakable 1960s design, the 1964 Lemans remains a favorite among collectors who appreciate classic Pontiacs. This particular example is finished in bright red with a black interior, a combination that gives the car a sporty and timeless appearance. The paint is reportedly only a couple of years old and finished in a modern base coat and clear coat system, so it should provide both an attractive shine and improved durability over older paint technologies. Complementing the exterior are classic 15-inch Cougar Magnum-style wheels, a period-correct upgrade that perfectly matches the lemans muscle car personality. Power comes from Pontiac's 326 cubic inch V8 equipped with a 4-barrel intake and carburetor. While it may not be the largest engine Pontiac offered during the era, the 326 has earned a reputation for smooth performance and dependable operation. Even better, this car retains its original 4-speed manual transmission, which, in my opinion, is one of its biggest highlights. A manual gearbox adds a level of driver involvement that simply can't be duplicated with an automatic, making every shift part of the classic driving experience. The seller also notes that the car is equipped with power steering, making it much easier to maneuver than many vintage muscle cars. Factory gauges and a factory tachometer further enhance the driving experience by preserving the original performance-oriented feel inside the cabin. Inside, the bucket seats have been reupholstered and are described as being in like-new condition. Combined with the clean black interior, the cabin appears both inviting and well cared for. One interesting detail is the GTO badge mounted on the dashboard. While this is still being presented as a lemans, the badge gives the interior a subtle nod to Pontiac's legendary performance heritage. Another major selling point is the condition of the body. According to the seller, this is a southern car with rust-free floors and a solid frame. That's always reassuring because rust is often one of the biggest concerns when shopping for any 1960s American classic. The chrome and exterior trim are also said to be in excellent condition, helping the car maintain its sharp overall presentation. Personally, what I like most about this lemans is its balance. It hasn't been over-modified or turned into an extreme restomod. Instead, it retains much of its original character while benefiting from tasteful cosmetic improvements and a strong, reliable drivetrain. It feels like the kind of classic you could comfortably drive to local cruise nights, weekend shows, or simply enjoy on a sunny afternoon. Overall, I think this 1964 Pontiac Lemans offers an excellent combination of vintage style, authentic Pontiac V8 performance, and driver-focused features. With its original 4-speed transmission, rust-free southern body, refreshed paint, and well-preserved interior, it presents itself as a very attractive classic. At an asking price of $34,500, it could be an excellent choice for someone looking to own a piece of early Pontiac muscle car history without stepping into the much higher price range of a comparable GTO. Number 5. This 1973 Ford Maverick. The Ford Maverick has become one of those classic American cars that continues to gain appreciation year after year. It may have started life as a compact economy car, but V8 equipped examples have developed a loyal following thanks to their lightweight design, simple mechanics, and excellent potential for both restoration and cruising. This 1973 Ford Maverick, located in Lake City, Minnesota, is listed for $25,000 or best offer and appears to be an exceptionally original example. According to the seller, this Maverick is equipped with a 302 cubic inch V8 and remains largely original. That's an important point because many Mavericks have been heavily modified over the years, especially the V8 cars. Finding one that has retained its factory character is becoming increasingly difficult, making originality one of this car's strongest selling points. Another detail that immediately stands out is the reported mileage of only 20,000 miles. While any low mileage claim on a vehicle that's more than 50 years old should always be supported by documentation whenever possible, if the mileage is accurate, it would certainly help explain why the seller describes the car as being in good condition. Low-mileage survivors often preserve many of the small factory details that disappear during restorations or decades of regular use. The listing is fairly brief, but it also mentions that the car is being sold on behalf of an older friend. While that doesn't guarantee anything about the vehicle itself, it sometimes suggests long-term ownership and a car that hasn't been constantly passed from one owner to another. Those are often the kinds of classics that receive steady maintenance instead of extensive modifications. Mechanically, the 302 V8 has always been one of Ford's most respected small-block engines. It's known for being dependable, easy to maintain, and supported by one of the largest aftermarket communities in the automotive world. Whether someone chooses to keep the car completely original or make tasteful upgrades in the future, the 302 provides an excellent foundation. In my opinion, the biggest attraction of this Maverick is its simplicity. It isn't trying to be a high-horsepower drag car or an over-the-top custom build. Instead, It appears to be an honest, mostly original V8 classic that represents a period when compact American cars were beginning to blend practicality with genuine performance. That's a combination many collectors have started to appreciate as Mavericks become harder to find in unmodified condition. At an asking price of $25,000, buyers will naturally expect a very clean and well-preserved example. If the originality and low mileage claim can be verified, that could make this Maverick considerably more appealing than many restored or heavily modified alternatives currently on the market. Overall, this 1973 Ford Maverick looks like a straightforward, well-preserved classic with a desirable 302 V8 and the kind of originality that enthusiasts often search for. For someone who appreciates overlooked Ford muscle from the early 1970s, this could be an opportunity to own a clean survivor that remains true to its roots while still offering plenty of enjoyment on the road. Number 6. The 1964 Buick Riviera. In my opinion, the 1964 Buick Riviera remains one of the most elegant American luxury coupes ever produced. Even more than 60 years after it first appeared, the Riviera still turns heads with its clean body lines, long hood, and sophisticated styling. Unlike many cars from the same era that relied on excessive chrome, the Riviera achieved a more refined and upscale look that continues to age remarkably well. This particular example is finished in blue with a white interior, a classic color combination that complements the Riviera's luxurious personality. Under the hood is Buick's legendary Wildcat 465 big block V8, an engine well known for delivering smooth, effortless torque rather than all-out high-revving performance. Paired with an automatic transmission, this Riviera was clearly designed for comfortable highway cruising, allowing drivers to enjoy long trips in true American Grand Touring fashion. The car is also equipped with several desirable factory options, including air conditioning, power steering, power brakes, and power windows. Those features were considered premium equipment in the mid-1960s, and they still make a noticeable difference today by providing a much more comfortable and enjoyable driving experience than many other classics of the same period. One thing I appreciate about this listing is the seller's honesty regarding the condition. Rather than describing the car as flawless, the seller explains that it presents well from a distance but shows its age when viewed up close. Cosmetic imperfections, aging paint, and areas needing attention are openly acknowledged, and the undercarriage reportedly has rust that will require future repairs. Personally, I always prefer sellers who are transparent about a vehicle's condition because it gives potential buyers a much more realistic expectation before making the trip to inspect the car. Despite those issues, the seller also points out that the Riviera remains a usable driver, and I think that's where this car becomes especially interesting. Instead of purchasing an expensive fully restored example that you're afraid to drive, this Buick offers the opportunity to enjoy the car immediately while gradually improving it over time. For many enthusiasts, that ownership experience can actually be more rewarding because each repair or upgrade becomes part of the car's story. At an asking price of $18,900, I believe this 1964 Buick Riviera represents an attractive entry point into one of Buick's most iconic models. Yes, it will require additional investment, particularly underneath the car, but the combination of the Wildcat 465 V8, factory luxury options, timeless styling, and reasonable purchase price makes it an appealing candidate for someone looking to own a genuine 1960s American personal luxury coupe. If the structural repairs are manageable and the mechanical condition is as solid as described, I think this Riviera has the potential to become a very enjoyable classic for years to come. Number 7. 1963 Mercury Comet. In my opinion, this 1963 Mercury Comet proves that you don't need a big V8 or an expensive restoration to enjoy the classic car hobby. Sometimes, the most rewarding classics are the honest, well-preserved originals that simply start, drive, and remind you of a different era. This Comet seems to fit that description perfectly. Located in Mentor, Minnesota, this two-door hardtop is listed for just $5,900, making it one of the more affordable entry points into the world of early 1960s American classics. It shows only 44,145 miles on the odometer and, according to the seller, remains in nice original condition while running and driving very well. Power comes from Mercury's dependable inline six-cylinder engine paired with a 3-speed manual transmission mounted on the steering column, commonly known as 3 on the tree. While that setup may seem unusual to younger enthusiasts today, it was a very common configuration during the early 1960s. In my opinion, driving a column-shift manual transmission adds a unique vintage experience that modern cars simply cannot replicate. It may take a little practice, but once you get used to it, it becomes part of the car's charm. One of the biggest attractions of this Comet is its originality. The seller describes it as being in good condition with a nicely preserved appearance rather than a fully restored show car. Personally, I think that's a huge advantage. Original classics often have much more character than cars that have been completely rebuilt because they still reflect decades of careful ownership and authentic history. The bright red exterior paired with a matching red interior gives the car a distinctly early 1960s personality. Mercury offered some bold color combinations during this era, and this one certainly captures that classic American styling. The clean lines of the hardtop body style make the Comet look elegant while still maintaining a sporty appearance. Mechanically, the inline-six engine may not deliver muscle car performance, but that's really not the purpose of this vehicle. Instead, it offers dependable operation, excellent simplicity, and relatively inexpensive maintenance. In my opinion, that makes this car ideal for someone entering the classic car hobby for the first time or for an enthusiast who simply enjoys relaxed weekend cruising instead of high-speed performance. Another aspect I appreciate is the asking price. Today, it's becoming increasingly difficult to find complete, running, and driving American classics at this price point. While many muscle cars continue to climb well beyond the average enthusiast's budget, cars like this Mercury Comet remain surprisingly attainable while still offering plenty of vintage appeal. Personally, I believe this Comet would make an excellent weekend cruiser, local car show participant, or even a fun father and son restoration project if someone eventually decided to take it to the next level. Because it already runs and drives well, there's no immediate pressure to perform a full restoration. It can simply be enjoyed as it is. Overall, this 1963 Mercury Comet offers an honest combination of originality, dependable six-cylinder power, a classic 3-speed manual transmission, and timeless early 1960s styling. In my opinion, it's a charming survivor that delivers an authentic vintage driving experience without requiring a six-figure budget, making it an excellent choice for anyone looking to enjoy classic American motoring in its purest form. Number 8. This 1964 Ford Thunderbird is a great example of a classic personal luxury coupe that blends timeless styling with a series of practical mechanical upgrades. Rather than being a fully restored showpiece, it appears to be an honest, well-maintained driver that has already received many of the improvements most buyers would want before putting miles on a vintage car. Finished in an off-white exterior with a blue interior, this Thunderbird has the elegant proportions and distinctive styling that made the fourth-generation T-Bird one of Ford's most recognizable designs of the 1960s. From its long hood to its clean body lines, the car still carries the upscale appearance that helped separate the Thunderbird from traditional muscle cars of the era. Power comes from Ford's respected 390 cubic inch FEV8, an engine well known for producing smooth torque and effortless cruising performance. According to the seller, the engine runs perfectly and has recently been fitted with a new Demon Holly carburetor along with a complete tune-up. Those upgrades should improve throttle response and overall reliability, making the car more enjoyable whether it's driven around town or taken on longer highway trips. Beyond the engine, the seller has already addressed several important maintenance items. The braking system has been refreshed with new brakes, while new tires and wheels provide both improved appearance and added confidence on the road. These are upgrades that many buyers often end up paying for after purchasing a classic, so having them already completed adds real value to the overall package. One of the biggest highlights mentioned in the listing is the installation of new floor pans. Structural rust can be one of the most expensive issues to repair on any vintage vehicle, so replacing the floor pans is a significant investment that helps strengthen the car and provides greater peace of mind for the next owner. Combined with what the seller describes as a nice body and beautiful paint, this Thunderbird appears to present itself as a solid, attractive classic rather than an unfinished restoration project. With approximately 130,000 miles showing on the odometer, this isn't being advertised as a low-mile survivor. Instead, it sounds like a car that has been driven, maintained, and improved over the years. In many cases, that's exactly what enthusiasts are looking for because it suggests the vehicle has remained in regular use instead of sitting unused for decades. The seller explains that the only reason for selling is to make room for other projects, which is a common situation among classic car owners and doesn't raise any obvious concerns about the vehicle itself. In my opinion, this Thunderbird offers a lot of classic American style for the money. It may not have the high-performance image of a Mustang or a big block muscle car, but the 390 FEV8 provides plenty of power for comfortable cruising, and the recent mechanical updates mean much of the essential work has already been completed. The combination of fresh paint, solid bodywork, upgraded carburetor, new brakes, and new floor pans makes this feel like a car that can be enjoyed immediately instead of spending months in the garage. At an asking price of $9,000, this 1964 Ford Thunderbird looks particularly attractive. Considering the cost of paint, rust repair, drivetrain maintenance, and replacement parts for full-size classics, it would be difficult to duplicate this package for the same investment. For someone looking to own a stylish, dependable 60s cruiser with a strong V8 and plenty of vintage character, this Thunderbird appears to represent a very good value. Number 9. 1962 Chevrolet Biscayne 2-Door Post. The 1962 Chevrolet Biscayne may not receive as much attention as the Impala or Bel Air, but among classic Chevrolet enthusiasts, it has earned a reputation as one of the purest and most honest full-size cars of the early 1960s. Without excessive trim or luxury features, the Biscayne focused on simplicity, durability, and everyday practicality. Ironically, that straightforward design has made surviving examples increasingly desirable today. This particular 1962 Biscayne is finished in blue with a matching blue interior, giving it a clean and authentic period appearance. The two-door post body style adds a sporty touch while maintaining the car's original no-nonsense character. Unlike hardtop models, the Post Coupe offers additional structural rigidity, making it a favorite among many vintage Chevrolet enthusiasts. Power comes from Chevrolet's legendary 235 cubic inch inline-six engine, paired with a 3-speed manual transmission mounted on the steering column, commonly known as the 3 on the tree. While it doesn't produce the thunderous horsepower of a V8, the 235 has built a long-standing reputation for reliability, smooth operation, and impressive longevity. In my opinion, there's something refreshing about driving a classic that remains true to its original engineering rather than relying solely on big horsepower. The seller reports approximately 56,000 original miles, which, if accurate, would certainly add to the car's appeal. Low-mileage survivors are becoming harder to find, especially when they retain much of their original mechanical character. According to the listing, the Biscayne also features a clean title and is described as running and driving very well, making it more than just a static collector's item. Cosmetically, the seller mentions that both the paint and interior are in very nice condition. Although the description is brief, those details suggest the car has been well maintained over the years and presents nicely without requiring an immediate restoration. For many buyers, finding a classic that can simply be driven and enjoyed is far more attractive than taking on an expensive restoration project. Personally, what I appreciate most about this Biscayne is its authenticity. It isn't pretending to be a high-performance muscle car or a heavily modified restomod. Instead, it celebrates the simplicity of early 1960s American motoring. Cars like this remind us that not every classic has to be powered by a big-block V8 to be enjoyable. Sometimes the experience of rowing through the gears with a smooth inline-six is exactly what makes a vintage car so rewarding. Overall, I think this 1962 Chevrolet Biscayne represents an excellent opportunity for collectors who appreciate originality and classic styling over outright performance. Its low reported mileage, manual transmission, solid presentation, and dependable 6-cylinder engine make it an appealing vintage cruiser that reflects an important chapter in Chevrolet's history. At an asking price of $22,500, it offers a distinctive alternative to the more common and often more expensive full-size Chevrolet models from the same era. Number 10. This 1985 Ford Ltd. Crown Victoria Coupe. When most people think of the Ford Crown Victoria, they picture the four-door sedans that dominated police fleets and taxi services years later. But before that era, Ford offered something much less common, the Ltd. Crown Victoria Coupe. This 1985 example, located in Chicago, Illinois, is listed at $12,500 and represents a full-size American coupe that has become increasingly uncommon on today's classic car market. One of the first things that stands out is the reported mileage of just 18,000 miles. While low-mileage claims on older vehicles should always be supported with documentation, the seller also notes that the car was senior-driven and garage-kept throughout its life. If those details are accurate, they help explain why the vehicle is described as being in excellent condition and completely free of rust. Finished in white over a blue interior, this Crown Victoria wears a color combination that perfectly captures the luxury car styling trends of the mid-1980s. Unlike the sportier muscle cars of previous decades, the Ltd. Crown Victoria was designed to deliver a smooth, comfortable ride with plenty of interior space. The long body, formal roofline, and chrome accents give it a traditional American appearance that has become increasingly nostalgic over the years. Mechanically, the seller states that the car runs exceptionally well and remains impressively quiet on the road. It has recently received a new set of white wall tires, which complement the classic styling and help preserve its factory-inspired appearance. The original owner's manual is also included, a small but appreciated detail that collectors often enjoy because it adds to the car's sense of authenticity. One aspect that makes this listing particularly interesting is its rarity. Two-door versions of the LTD Crown Victoria were produced in far smaller numbers than their four-door counterparts, and far fewer have survived in clean, unmodified condition. As a result, finding a rust-free coupe with low claimed mileage is becoming increasingly difficult. The seller also mentions being open to trades for well-maintained SUVs and vans, suggesting that the motivation to sell is practical rather than simply testing the market. That often gives buyers a little more confidence that the seller is genuinely interested in finding the right next owner. In my opinion, this car's biggest strength is that it offers something different from the usual classic muscle car experience. Instead of raw performance, it focuses on comfort, originality, and relaxed cruising. For enthusiasts who appreciate full-size American coupes from the 1980s, this Crown Victoria has a charm that's difficult to duplicate. It represents the final years of the traditional rear-wheel drive personal luxury coupe before automotive design began shifting in a completely different direction. At $12,500, this Ford seems fairly well positioned if its condition matches the seller's description. Clean, rust-free examples with low mileage have become noticeably harder to find, and originality often adds value that heavily modified cars simply can't match. Overall, this 1985 Ford LTD Crown Victoria Coupe appears to be a well-preserved survivor with classic styling, comfortable road manners, and the kind of rarity that makes it stand out among full-size American cars of the 1980s. For someone looking to own an overlooked piece of Ford history, this coupe could be a very rewarding choice. Number 11. The 1966 Ford Thunderbird Town Landau. In my opinion, the 1966 Ford Thunderbird Town Landau represents one of the finest examples of American personal luxury from the 1960s. While muscle cars were dominating the performance scene during that era, the Thunderbird followed a different philosophy. It was designed to deliver effortless power, premium comfort, and distinctive styling, making it an excellent choice for drivers who wanted to cruise in style rather than race from stoplight to stoplight. Finished in a rich burgundy exterior with a matching burgundy interior, this Town Landau has the kind of elegant appearance that perfectly suits the Thunderbird's upscale image. The formal roofline, hidden rear side windows, and long, sculpted body give the car a unique presence that still stands out today. Even among classic American cars, the Town Landau has a personality all its own, blending luxury and style in a way few competitors could match. Power comes from Ford's dependable 390 cubic inch V8, an engine that has earned a solid reputation for delivering smooth performance and plenty of low-end torque. Paired with an automatic transmission, this drivetrain was built for relaxed highway cruising rather than aggressive driving. According to the seller, the car runs and rides very well, and the drivetrain and suspension have already been gone through, which is encouraging for anyone looking to buy a classic they can actually enjoy on the road instead of immediately putting into the garage for major repairs. One thing I appreciate is that the seller is upfront about the car's shortcomings. The air conditioning is currently not working, although it hasn't been diagnosed, and the factory cruise control is also inoperative, with the seller believing it may not be reparable. Personally, I don't see those issues as major drawbacks for everyone. Many classic car enthusiasts rarely rely on vintage cruise control systems, and air conditioning can often be addressed depending on the specific problem. More importantly, the seller emphasizes that the mechanical aspects responsible for driving the car have already received attention. With approximately 137,000 miles, this Thunderbird has clearly been driven and enjoyed over the years. In my opinion, that's not necessarily a negative. I'd much rather own a classic that has been exercised regularly and maintained than one that has spent decades sitting and used. A car that's been driven often tells a story, and when properly cared for, those miles become part of its character rather than something to fear. What stands out most to me is the overall value this car appears to offer. You get a full-size luxury coupe with a strong-running 390 V8, refreshed suspension and drivetrain, distinctive styling, and the unmistakable comfort that made the Thunderbird famous. It's the kind of classic that feels equally at home cruising country roads, attending weekend car shows, or simply taking a relaxing drive on a sunny afternoon. At an asking price of $13,500, I believe this 1966 Ford Thunderbird Town Landau presents a compelling opportunity for someone who appreciates classic American luxury. It may not be perfect, and there are a few features that need attention, but the combination of its iconic styling, proven V8 engine, comfortable ride, and reasonable price makes it a very attractive entry into the world of vintage personal luxury automobiles. Number 12. 1962 Ford Galaxie 500. In my opinion, this 1962 Ford Galaxie 500 offers one of the best combinations of classic Ford styling and serious FE big block performance. It isn't just another restored early 1960s full-size Ford. This example has been carefully upgraded with modern performance components while still preserving the timeless appearance that made the Galaxie one of Ford's most respected muscle-era platforms. Listed for $30,000 in Waukesha, Wisconsin, this two-door sedan carries a clean title and shows approximately 89,000 miles. Although the car is currently located in Waterloo, Iowa, the seller notes that it can easily be brought to Wisconsin for the next owner. One of the biggest highlights is its history. This Galaxie was originally built as a factory Z-code car, meaning it came equipped with Ford's legendary 390 cubic inch FEV8 when it rolled off the assembly line. Even though the original engine has been replaced, I think it's always nice to see a genuine factory big block car serving as the foundation for a high-performance build. Today, the original 390 has given way to a much stronger 445 cubic inch FE total performance stroker engine fitted with aluminum cylinder heads. That combination provides a significant increase in both horsepower and torque while also reducing weight over the front axle. In my opinion, the FE engine family has one of the best exhaust notes of any classic Ford the 5.8, and a properly built 445 stroker delivers the kind of effortless power that perfectly suits a full-size Galaxie. Backing the engine is a 4-speed manual transmission, making this a true driver's car. Even more interesting, the seller points out that it's a bench seat car equipped with a 4-speed, a configuration that has become increasingly uncommon today. For enthusiasts who appreciate unusual factory-style combinations, that alone adds another layer of character to this Galaxie. Performance upgrades continue with Kreitz headers, allowing the big FE engine to breathe more efficiently while producing the deep, unmistakable sound that Ford big block fans love. The braking system has also been modernized with a power front disc brake conversion while retaining rear drum brakes, giving the car noticeably improved stopping power without dramatically changing its vintage appearance. According to the seller, the vehicle received a complete frame-off restoration about 5 years ago. That's one of the most important details in the listing because a frame-off restoration typically involves taking the entire car apart, restoring both the body and chassis, and rebuilding it from the ground up. In my opinion, that level of restoration usually results in a much higher quality vehicle than a simple cosmetic repaint. The seller also mentions that the car has been sitting for the past 3 years. While that doesn't necessarily indicate any problems, I would expect the next owner to perform a complete inspection of the fluids, fuel system, seals, belts, and hoses before putting regular miles on the car again. That's simply good practice with any classic that has spent an extended period in storage. Cosmetically, the Galaxie appears equally impressive. The chrome is described as being in excellent condition, while the interior has been refreshed with new seat covers, a new headliner, and fresh carpeting. Completing the appearance are brand new staggered 17-inch American Racing torque thrust wheels, which give the car a subtle pro touring influence without overpowering its classic styling. Personally, I think those wheels strike an excellent balance between vintage muscle and modern performance. Overall, this 1962 Ford Galaxie 500 combines the authenticity of a factory Z-code big block car with the performance of a professionally upgraded 445 FE stroker, 4-speed manual transmission, frame-off restoration, modern braking upgrades, and tasteful cosmetic improvements. In my opinion, it's an outstanding choice for someone who wants a full-size Ford that delivers both classic looks and serious performance, while remaining comfortable enough to enjoy at cruise nights, car shows, or long highway drives. Number 13. This 1972 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible is a classic that focuses more on relaxed cruising and comfort than outright muscle car performance. While many enthusiasts gravitate toward Mustangs from this era, the Cougar offers a more refined personality with additional luxury features, making it a unique alternative for collectors who appreciate classic American convertibles. Finished in yellow with a black bucket seat interior, this XR7 has a striking appearance that perfectly captures the style of the early 1970s. The black convertible top contrasts nicely with the bright exterior color, giving the car an elegant look whether the top is raised or folded down for open-air driving. According to the seller, the car spent much of its life in Las Vegas and has remained with the same owners for many years. That history is encouraging because dry climate cars are often far less susceptible to rust than vehicles from colder regions. The seller specifically describes the car as super dry and rust-free, which is always one of the biggest selling points for any classic convertible. Power comes from the original 351 cubic inch 2-barrel V8, paired with an automatic transmission. While this isn't the highest performance engine offered in the Cougar lineup, it has a reputation for smooth operation and dependable cruising. The seller mentions that the engine runs nicely and that the mechanical components have been well maintained over the years, suggesting that this is a car built more for enjoyable weekend drives than aggressive performance. Stopping power has also been improved with factory front disc brakes, and another nice feature is the newer power-operated convertible top, which should make top-down driving much more convenient. Inside, the original-style bucket seats, center console, and floor shifter help preserve the car's authentic 70s atmosphere, while desirable factory options such as power windows and power door locks are all reported to be functioning properly. Not everything is perfect, however. The air conditioning system is currently inoperative, although the seller states that all of the components are still present. For many buyers, that means the system could potentially be repaired instead of completely replaced, making it less of a concern than if major parts were missing altogether. An additional bonus is that the original factory wheels are included with the sale, giving the next owner the flexibility to either maintain its stock appearance or personalize it while still keeping the original equipment. In my opinion, this Cougar XR7 stands out because it delivers something a little different from the more common classic muscle cars. Instead of focusing solely on horsepower, it emphasizes comfort, style, and enjoyable cruising with the top down. The rust-free body, long-term ownership history, functioning luxury features, and original drivetrain all make it feel like a well-preserved classic that hasn't lost its character. At an asking price of $18,999, this 1972 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible appears to offer solid value. Restoring a rust-free convertible to this level would likely cost considerably more than the asking price. For buyers looking for a stylish, comfortable, and increasingly uncommon 70s convertible that can be enjoyed immediately, this Cougar seems like a very attractive opportunity. Number 14. 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass S Fastback. The 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass S Fastback is one of those muscle cars that tends to fly under the radar compared to some of its GM siblings, but enthusiasts know just how attractive these cars really are. With its sleek fastback roofline, muscular proportions, and unmistakable Oldsmobile styling, the Cutlass S offers a unique blend of performance and everyday drivability. It's a car that turns heads without trying too hard, and this example certainly seems to fit that description. Finished as a driver quality project, this Cutlass isn't advertised as a perfect show car, and I actually appreciate that honesty. The seller openly states that the paint isn't flawless and looks best from a short distance, but underneath the cosmetics appears to be a solid foundation. According to the listing, the undercarriage, frame, and floor pans are all rust-free, which is one of the most valuable qualities you can ask for in a 50-plus-year-old muscle car. Power comes from the dependable Oldsmobile Rocket 350 V8, paired with its automatic transmission. With roughly 83,000 miles reported, the drivetrain is said to start every time, idle smoothly, and show no unusual engine noises or overheating issues. The addition of a 4-barrel carburetor and true dual exhaust should help the engine breathe better while also giving the car a deeper, classic muscle car exhaust note. In my opinion, a Rocket 350 may not be the biggest engine Oldsmobile offered, but it's well known for being durable, responsive, and enjoyable for regular cruising. Inside, the cabin appears to be one of the stronger points of the car. The seller rates the interior at 9 out of 10, noting that the seats remain free of tears, the headliner isn't sagging, and overall the interior presents very well. Manual windows help preserve the car's original character, while new LED headlights improve nighttime visibility without dramatically changing its vintage appearance. One thing to keep in mind is that this Cutlass does not currently have air conditioning, so buyers in warmer climates may eventually want to add or restore an AC system if they plan to drive it frequently during the summer. However, for someone looking for a classic weekend cruiser, that may not be a major concern. The seller also mentions that a custom wheel and matching steering wheel package is available separately. While they aren't included in the asking price, it's nice to have the option if the next owner wants to give the car a more personalized appearance. Personally, what I like most about this Cutlass is that it feels like an honest driver rather than a trailer queen. It runs, drives, stops properly, has a rust-free structure, and already delivers the sound and feel most muscle car enthusiasts are looking for. Instead of paying top dollar for a fully restored example, The next owner has the opportunity to improve the cosmetics over time while still enjoying the car from day one. Overall, I think this 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass S Fastback represents a solid value for someone who wants an authentic classic muscle car with a dependable rocket 350, a strong structural foundation, and plenty of potential. At an asking price of $18,000, it offers an affordable entry into the world of vintage Oldsmobiles while leaving room for future personalization and restoration. Number 15. This 1967 Ford Galaxie 500 Ltd Fastback. The late 1960s produced some of Ford's most memorable full-size cars, and the 1967 Galaxie 500 Ltd Fastback remains one of the most stylish examples from that era. Located in Kimberly, Wisconsin, and offered at $25,900, this classic combines the unmistakable fastback roofline with big block V8 power, making it an attractive choice for anyone who appreciates vintage American cruisers. Finished in blue with a black interior, this Galaxie has a timeless appearance that suits its long, sweeping body lines. The fastback design gives the car a sportier personality than many other full-size sedans of its time, while still maintaining the comfort and road presence that made the LTD trim one of Ford's premium offerings during the 1960s. Power comes from a 390 cubic inch V8, or approximately 6.4 liters, paired with an automatic transmission. The 390 FE engine has long been respected among Ford enthusiasts for its strong low-end torque and relaxed highway performance. Rather than being built strictly for drag racing, this engine is well suited for effortless cruising, giving the Galaxie the kind of smooth driving experience that made these full-size Fords popular when they were new. According to the seller, the car runs and drives very well, suggesting that it has remained a usable classic instead of becoming a garage ornament. Even more encouraging is the ownership history. The seller has owned the vehicle for roughly 10 years and mentions completing a significant amount of work during that time. Although the listing doesn't provide every detail, long-term ownership often indicates that maintenance and improvements were made gradually with the intention of keeping the car on the road rather than preparing it for a quick resale. The seller also describes the Galaxie as a real head-turner, and it's easy to understand why. Full-size fastbacks from this era have become increasingly uncommon, especially examples that remain complete, clean, and roadworthy. Their combination of size, chrome, and distinctive styling gives them a presence that modern cars simply don't have. Another positive aspect is that the car has had only 2 owners and carries a clean title. While ownership history alone doesn't guarantee condition, it can often suggest a more stable life compared to vehicles that have changed hands repeatedly over the decades. In my opinion, this Galaxie strikes a nice balance between originality and usability. It doesn't appear to be an over-restored trailer queen, nor is it advertised as a rough project requiring years of work. Instead, it sounds like a classic that has been enjoyed, maintained, and improved over a long period by someone who genuinely cared about it. That type of ownership history often inspires more confidence than flashy restoration claims. At an asking price of $25,900, this 1967 Ford Galaxie 500 Ltd Fastback seems to offer solid value for buyers looking for a full-size American classic with a desirable big block engine and distinctive styling. It may not receive the same attention as a Mustang or Torino, but its rarity, comfort, and unmistakable road presence give it a character all its own. Overall, this Galaxie appears to be a well-kept and enjoyable vintage Ford that delivers exactly what many enthusiasts want: a powerful V8, classic fastback styling, and the ability to get in, turn the key, and simply enjoy the drive.